Ukulele bands and orchestras have been popping up all over the country, all over the world in fact, and almost every town and village now has its own local ukulele band, whether you rehearse in a pub and it's more of a social thing, or whether you take it a bit more seriously with loads of really ambitious arrangements. As long as you're having fun, that's the main thing, and I don't want this video to detract from that at all. But there are some things, little things that we can suggest that could really improve your band no end. It's all about those little things that make a big difference. And so I'm going to run through 5 of the things that I've come across when I've been coaching ukulele bands that I always suggest, and I see an instant improvement in the quality of the group's performance. And of course, these are things that you might want to consider for your own solo playing as well. Win-win. Any good band has a leader. Whether it's an orchestra with a conductor or even just a little simple band, there'll always be one person counting you off or giving a sort of nod or a cue for maybe a particularly interesting part of the song. There's always someone directing. Now, the leader should not sort of be too authoritarian or be like a dictator, you know, not sort of taking over, taking control all for themselves. A good leader is there to serve the band, not to be at the front and say, "Oh, look at me." And a band that is led in an effective way will provide for effective performances. So I would suggest, first of all, arrange your seating plan such that everybody can look up at the leader. I've been in groups where sort of people sit in a semicircle looking up at the leader, or at the very least in rows. If you've got people sort of scattered around in islands, then you're going to have some people who have to sort of awkwardly look that way, or even magically somehow look behind them. You're just not going to be able to see the leader. Of course, you could take it in turns to be a leader and then maybe try sitting in a circle, and then everyone can see everyone, so that when it's your turn to be the leader, you can be seen. Eye contact. Don't underestimate the power of eye contact. And sort of leading on from that point, as a musician, I would have your music stand quite high up, not all the way down there, because then if you do have to look up, you've got a long way to go, and then by the time you look down there, you've moved on. The next, you've gone 3 chords and you've got no idea where you're going. Set the music there, so all you have to do is a little glance up in order to see the leader. And again, another sort of follow along point is even position your ukulele neck at a slight angle from you, so that in one sort of eye line I can see my ukulele neck, so if I need to look at my fingers I can, but I can still glance over there and see the music, and again another glance up there, there's the leader. I've got all 3 things in my line of sight. Don't underestimate the power of eye contact. Secondly, a good leader should have a consistent method of leading in. The way you count in should always be the same. Do you count in 1, 2, 3, 4? Or 1, 2, 3, go, or 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep it consistent. Equally, having a good ending should be really important. The band leader should be able to communicate with their body language when they're going to stop. Whenever I do it, I bring my ukulele up as a cue that I'm about to stop, and then as I bring it down, that's our final downbeat, and then we finish after that. And even if you think no one's looking at you, if everyone has that line of sight, they will at least be able to see you in their peripheral vision. So even if they're not literally staring at you, if you do a big gesture like that, then at least they will see you in the corner of their eye. The second thing I would suggest is to split the band up into different roles. As you get more and more members, you'll start to find that the people who've been there the longest want more of a challenge, and yet you may find that you still have to cater to those beginners. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, but it can be challenging to make sure that everybody is satisfied with the rehearsal. So I would suggest trying to find some easier, reduced strumming parts for those beginners who are just trying to keep up, a sort of normal average for most people to play along to, and then an extension as well. And arranging parts is really, really simple. Sometimes those reduced parts could just be one strum at the beginning of each chord. So say you've got a chord progression is C, G, A minor, F. What I just did there is the sort of normal level, but if you need an entry level version, Don't expect a beginner to keep up with all of that. Just tell them to do one strum and then spend the next 3 beats getting ready for the next chord. 1, 2, 3, 4, ready, 1, 2, get ready again, 4, ready, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, and back to C. Thinking about ways that you can reduce parts and then maybe build upon them as the player gets more confident. You could then go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, things like that until they're able to join that normal level. And if you want an extension, well, consider picking. You don't have to add anything different to the left hand if you don't want to, but you could just play each string. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Or if you do want an even greater challenge that goes higher up the neck, see if you can find other versions of notes all the way up by the 12th fret-ish, that sort of region. For example, the C chord has these pitches. Can you find any of those pitches octave above, nearer the 12th fret? Well, one that springs to mind, G, the octave above there is on the 10th fret. So if you're playing a C chord, that 10th fret works to be played at the same time as the C chord. Go to a G chord, you've got the open G string again. So that note also works. So you could sort of play around with notes around there, and so on and so forth, like that. Take a logical approach and use your ear and see if you can pick out something that's a little bit more challenging for those who need it. Coming back to this word consistency now for number 3, but this time consistent written music. A lot of ukulele bands will take their music either from a variety of sources, or you will have one person in the group who tries to write out all the music. A lot of the time you'll get the chords and the lyrics, but learning how to sort of put together all these different sources or even come up with a method yourself can be quite daunting. So let's just have a look at a few examples. In the example on screen now, you can see that the chords are written above the words. And the idea is that the chord is written above the word that is sung when the chord actually starts. Simple enough. However, this method does take up twice as many lines on a page as this method. This time we can see the chords are actually in between the words, or even in between the parts of the words themselves. So this saves space, but it can be a bit confusing because as you're reading along, you read the chord and then you read the word. So that can be a barrier to trying to do both at the same time. You find a lot of musical sources that don't follow sort of standard notation will come up with their own methods of doing this. Once you've read a few musical sources, you then might be able to put together your own consistent system.
Do you want to improve your strumming, as well as learn a few fancy cool tips and tricks that will impress your audiences and friends? If so, then look no further than my brand new book, Go Faster. In the book, we go over 21 different strumming techniques. Some aimed at right for beginners who want to learn how to strum. If you maybe can strum but want to improve or sound a little better, then look at some of the intermediate lessons. Or if you're even an advanced player looking for a bit of a challenge, then there's some cool stuff in here as well, all to do with sort of Hawaiian rhythms, flamenco rhythms. Every single lesson is broken down with illustrations and photographs. There are video demos too to demonstrate exactly how everything should look and sound. So what are you waiting for? Earn your ukulele Go Faster stripes now with Go Faster.
Dynamics is my 4th thing to suggest, or volume is another word as well. A lot of the time people strum at the same volume and that's fine, but if you want to make things a little bit more interesting, try simply playing at different volumes. If you've got 3 songs, you've got a big opener to sort of catch the listener's attention, yeah, you want to be strumming loudly. But maybe your second song could be a little bit more reduced. Do try strumming quietly. Get everyone to strum maybe with their thumb. The thumb is the quietest digit to strum with versus the finger. So maybe get everyone to use that. Or just try using less contact surface area if you want people to be quiet. Tell your ukulele players, gentle brushes over the strings. And if you've got 30 people being really quiet, and then of course you've had that first song which was really loud, then you've got a huge contrast, and that's all it takes sometimes to make a set list more interesting. That third song could be upbeat again, so you've kind of got a quiet sandwich, sandwiched in between two louder songs. Just a simple thing like that can make all the difference. And the final thing I will talk about is just sort of general admin, both as a leader or the runner of a group and also as a member of the group. Having good filing for your music, seriously, might take a bit of time, but it's worth it, because if you've got a good system that helps you get to which song you want to do next nice and quickly, that'll save you time in the rehearsal and a performance. Instead of faffing through pages, maybe number your songs as you add them. Song 1, 2, 3, 4. Then if you come up with a set list at a performance, today we're going to do songs 20, 6 and 5. And then, right, 20. Now flick through number 2, or sorry, it was 6, wasn't it? And then number 5. Flick through your songs, and that way it'll help you get through these songs much more quickly. It's much better, in my experience, to do it that way, or a sort of variation of that idea, than to say, right, get all your bits of paper out, line them up, get everyone to do it, someone drops theirs, someone loses theirs. It takes up too much time, especially if you're paying to hire a venue, or if you have an audience waiting to listen to you. Keeping them waiting is not a good idea. So just try and be a bit more organised. Putting that time in at the beginning will save you loads more time and hassle in the future. And maybe that's something I'll look at another time. But that's all I have time for today. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope that you'll find these tips useful in improving your ukulele groups. Like I said, it's the little things that make a big difference. And hopefully after a few months of implementing some of these, you'll see the big differences that they have made. Have you got any suggestions of your own? Anything that you've tried in the past that you found has been successful? Do let me know in the comments so that other people can take inspiration from your ideas as well. And while you're down in the comments section, do also find the like button and the subscribe button. And then click over here now to watch another video of mine for more topics just like this one.